This is the pitch on Music Oasis on Steam. We had originally a vision that we talked about for Metaverse Music, or which became Music Oasis. And we had kind of three approaches to it. One was or three levels. The one level was kind of a guide for music performances that said, here's how you can do all these things in different worlds. Basically a go-to to find out how I could stream into a given world. That was one of our goals. We did some of that, not a lot. The second was to develop a community of musicians and promoters and DJs, people that are interested in this space. And we have met a lot of people, and we've had some sharing of events. And we certainly have tried to put on music events and help people establish, their a little bit of a fan base, and also try some things with some record labels and so on. The third thing was we were also going to build a tool set that could do its best to try to integrate across these virtual world platforms. I originally put these worlds, or these goals together, or this vision together, with not a lot of experience in how current virtual worlds worked. Sansar was my first virtual world, so I at the time kind of underestimated how closed the metaverse is, which in retrospect is a funny thing to say, but it's true. The metaverse is really it's really the silo verse. So what's MOOS? Well, MOOS is hopefully something that's going to be a tool that will do that. We didn't really do that before, because what we did basically is I just built things on top of Sansar, so it wasn't a tool to do things across anything besides Sansar. So what do I think MOOS will do? Well, our original our vision was to have a hub. And I think we had a hub for Sansar. That's what it turned out to be. I built a bunch of tutorials. We got Twitch pretty well integrated, and did a number of concerts where we used Twitch. I tried to go ahead and do a virtual worlds music schedule by scraping a bunch of sites, but that never really turned out, and I kind of dropped it because we weren't in those other virtual worlds anyway. And why weren't we in those other virtual worlds? Because it would be a lot of effort to get in there and build especially in all of those worlds. The other things were a blog, which I did some things early on, but we never followed through on. And we were going to do simulcast events, which Ori and I think, did some testing to show that we could do some of that, but it was a kludge in terms of having to glue it all together, and it wasn't repeatable really well. And then a messaging system, again, pretty tough. Because of every of these worlds, like I said, they're silos. And then a community social site. We built a website and then abandoned it because people don't go to those websites. We built a Discord and have some participation in Discord, but it's not a huge community. So what's MOOS? Well, hopefully, again, it's another attempt at that. But the attempt is going to be, instead of vaguely doing it and trying to do it in a bunch of different worlds and stuff, it's one piece of software that does the majority of this. So like I said, we did a lot of tutorials, and this is what the other thing that I learned a lot with We learned a lot about how to stream things back and forth, how to go set things up, how to make this work. And to say it's complicated is an understatement. People have accept that complication, but a lot of people have. But we kind of tend to think, well, that's easy. I mean, people can figure it out. Well, some people, brave people, have figured it out. A small subset of people. It seems like a lot. Well, there's a lot of DJs in virtual worlds. Well, compared to the amount of DJs there are out there, there's not a lot. And part of the reason is because it's so. You have to be kind of very interested in virtual worlds in order to be even undertake this as a musician or a DJ. And I the reason I can say that is I know, and I've tried to encourage other people to join, and that are not virtual world people, that are musicians and whole communities. Because I was involved in a lot of music projects over the years, and I especially like a very active music producer world, and they didn't want to mess with it. It comes right down to it. If I showed them where the tutorials are and to do this and how they could do it, it was like, hey, it's enough for me to figure out how to move things to Steam from my, share my desktop with OBS and use Steam. So, that's about as far as they wanted to go. Even then, that was too far. I mean, we want to make it easy for people. And so that's where I think Steam will, or where I hope our MOOS software will help. Hopefully we can simplify that instead of making a bunch of tutorials about how to stream your services into a whole bunch of different virtual worlds and trying to give people support on that. Basically what we'll do is teach them how to use MOOS software. And it'll take care of all that for them behind the scenes. Well, what is it really, though? I mean, so those are a lot of words of vision. So what am I building here? What are we building here? Or has gotten involved, and with that, she's given a lot of good advice about where I should be going next, and it'll be helping me build some of this out. It's a session-based game that's played using Steam. Basically, Steam is the way that you enter the game and play it. It's client server based, like most Steam games are. So it's not on the web. It's one of the defining things about it is it's built for the ground up for music performance and events. It's not really being built as a virtual world that can do everything for everybody and become the metaverse. We got a lot of those, and so I don't want to become yet another silo. It's got some virtual world features. I mean, it's got things like having an avatar, being able to modify your avatar, bring in new avatars. It's got the ability for world builders to be able to bring in various venues to host events in. But again, it's really a piece of two kinds of things. It's a piece of music software to be able to create music with, and it's also a event visiting software, is what I say. It's a something that provides an immersive 3D environment for people that are going to mostly listen to music. Although you could certainly do things like an open mic easily with this type of thing as well. It's the basic modes of MOOS. It's a community lobby I'm going to have. So basically, what does that mean? It's going to have a persistent place where you can go in and see things like atlases, meaning you could go visit some of the worlds if you wanted to on a simple basis. I mean, just go in there and visit if you want to, although that's not what it's primarily, not for exploring other people's 3D worlds like a lot of the other places are. It's but the community lobby is a place that's always there, and you can go there, you can see what the events are going to be, and so on. Now, this community lobby probably will be 3D based, but also will probably have to have something like Discord as the real backbone of it. That's not the most important part, or the most important mode of MOOS anyway. The most important part is the events. And events will be hosted and launched by an event creator. So basically, you will schedule an event, much like you do in Sansar, and then when it comes time for the event, you will host it, and then people can join the event and come in and attend the event. So a lot of times, if you look at MOOS, it will be only active when they're events. It's much like a session-based game inside of Steam. Something like Fortnite. You wait around for your game for your lobby to fill up and your game to get ready, and it'll tell you every 8 players or 16 players, and you go in there and shoot each other. It's sort of the same thing. If someone's shooting each other, you'll be going to a music event. Music creation software focus tools. Again, I'm building this primarily because one of my true loves obviously is music software, and playing music and creating music. So it's going to have a lot of music creation and exploration tools. Ones that I've already built that I'm going to integrate into this product. Ones that I tried to build inside of Sansar and only had limited access because of some of the lack of access I had and be able to make it work like I intended, because I was a scripter on top of API rather than actually developing software. And again, the point is that it's not only music and exploration tools for a person, but for multiple people. So multiple people could go in there, for example, and create a mix together with DJ software, for example, that multiple people could be integrated or adding to the mix, or musicians recording a piece together, or exploring music and jamming together. All those are the kinds of things that I'm trying to go do for musicians and DJs. And quite honestly, that's going to be where I'm going to focus most of my time. The other side of it, though, is the concert or the attendee focus tools. And one of the things I want to do there is we've learned quite a bit about doing some of that inside of Sansar with things like the Oasis dances and things. So it'll have a lot of the visuals that we've done for those kinds of things. But again, we'll be able to explore new ones and more control and more integrated with the music in terms of, for example, effects that, much like DMX software is used, it's going to be tied to music. I'll be able to tie it to the beats. We'll be able to do, I think, some pretty mind-blowing stuff inside of Unreal Engine. The other thing, again, is I'm going to attempt to do, it's a metaverse hub. From my perspective, a person will get into to DJ or play music inside of here, and they'll have a HUD that comes up available to them as part of their things that they see. And they can say, I want to send this to Twitch. I want to send this to YouTube. So it's going to have OBS built into it. And they don't have to mess with setting all that up. Then also, you could select virtual worlds to send it to. And those virtual worlds, let's say Sansar, let's say Second Life, and whatever ones they are, will have to have software that gets written probably by me or Ori that does the that are players, meaning our media players inside of those virtual worlds. So it will you would be able to say, I want to go stream into the Rave Cave, and we would hook that up so it would actually stream into the Rave Cave as well as you playing inside of MOOS. So again, it'll start to attempt to do what we wanted to do to start with, which was stream once, show up many places. And again, the community side of it, which may not be the software specific. Like I said, there'll probably be a Discord component associated with MOOS as well. Why are we using Unreal? Well, we've talked about before. we think Epic Games is going to continue to be a huge player and maybe even bigger. They may become the metaverse. And so because of that, we want to be built on that platform and be able to take advantage if they do start stepping into it big, and see if we can integrate what we're doing into what they're doing and grow with it. It's open source. It's not open source. It's open source like, meaning from a programmer's perspective, I can get in there and not only make my own software and build on top and extend the software like you would hope you could in an object-oriented programming language, but you can also dive deep down into their engine. Like in Sansar, basically, they said, here's the API, I'm going to expose pieces of it, and I may document it. I'm going to say that's about as far as I ever got. They documented pieces of it, but you couldn't really, whatever they had exposed was all you could work with as a programmer. You couldn't, even though you knew how to, you couldn't make things work inside of their engine. They didn't allow it. Most software is like that. Most virtual worlds are like that. But with building it on top of Unreal, I can go into the game engine. I can dive deep down into the game engine from a programmer's perspective, and I can extend it and change it to make it do what I need it to do. So it's great for that. It's got great visuals and tools, state of the art for developing, the jaw-dropping graphics and experience of a game. For Music Oasis, I felt there also needs to be an alternative for Sansar. There's a concern, always ongoing concern. And while there's other ones out there, which I think should all be used for virtual worlds. I mean, again, this isn't going to be a virtual world. I would hope that I can make MOOS work with these virtual worlds. But again, since it's event-based, this is not going to be a replacement or even any kind of way competing with those virtual worlds. Well, our hope is that we can at least broadcast them to them. Okay, so, what are the other goals? Again, I said some of these before. I'm doing it because I want to have fun. I'm a programmer, and I got very frustrated in Sansar as a programmer. I want to become more skilled, and so does a number of the rest of us in the team, in how to use Unreal Engine, because it's already a strong competitor, and it's going to grow, we feel like. I wanted to have an off-ramp and not be completely dependent on Sansar surviving. I've extended the API about as much as I'm going to inside of Sansar because, when they lost the people that supported the API, when they had to let them go because of downsizing, I kind of lost interest as a programmer over there. They have not really made any significant, they haven't made any API changes, so they're not going to let you have any more access into the system. There's only so many things you can build with the APIs, and I'd kind of done everything I wanted to do that was available on their API. And also, I got tired of how hard it is to go around to build the kinds of things I already had to build, rather than just build it the right way. Before I go, I gotta say, Sansar, I love Sansar. It was great. It was a great experience getting into the first things, and now I love Sansar too as a place to meet friends and hang out. But I just probably won't be doing much creation there. We hope that MOOS will be an application that can help fulfill some of that original Music Oasis vision. We stalled, and I think we stalled mostly because of the daunting task of the only way we felt like we could do that was become an expert in all the different virtual worlds and basically recreate what you've done in one virtual world in all the other virtual worlds, and that's a pretty tough thing to do. There's only so much time. And lastly, of course, the real true reason I'm doing it is because I want to build a killer app for collaborative music performance. So that's kind of the vision, the long, boring vision.